so this week on Strike Missions, I have a little breakdown. It's kind of got two parts to it. One part is using a Hawaiian style 3-prong, and the other part is learning how to approach ulua houses. So uluas are commonly known as giant trevally. During the daytimes, they like to hang out in big caves that usually have 2 or more entrances. They don't really seem to like to hang out in stuff that doesn't have an entrance. They'll go in there, I assume, to rest or get out of the current, but you know that historically certain ulua houses, as we call them, will produce fish. And so I'll show you one day that I was out getting small fish to fry with a 3-prong, and I decided to stop at one of these ulua houses and see if anybody was home, and there was. So I'll run you through this, how I approached it, the hows and whys. So when I'm about to dive down with my 3-prong, a mistake that I see a lot of people do is they go ahead and load it beforehand, way earlier than they need to. I'll dive down, let my hand rest, so my hand's not fatigued by the time I have to wait for the fish. So I'm diving down here. Notice I don't dive straight into the entrance of the ulua house. That's a common mistake I see. What I like to do is dive down to the bottom away from it and really creep up to the ledge, because they're usually doing laps around there. And if you fall right into it when they're doing a lap out, you spook them all. So I like to get right to the edge of the ulua house and peek over with my head first to see if there are any in there, and if so, where they're oriented. So I'm looking over and I'm already seeing that there's some right here. They would have blown out if I would have dropped straight into it. Now, since I have this 3-prong, I'm really having to line up my shot. Right there, I get a good angle and hit the sweet spot. It's on the button, doesn't kick, it was lights out immediately. And you see what happens, you just want to train yourself to not disturb areas for the future, and you'll see they don't even know what happens. I stoned the fish, hitting it directly in the brain, and the other uluas just cruised around. And this is like a big accomplishment for somebody in Hawaii. For me, I was super pumped. You know, it's by no means the biggest fish that I've shot, but I always say like shooting a 3-prong is like shooting a traditional bow compared to compound bow hunting. Like, it's just so much more difficult. It requires a lot of skill and luck, to be honest, sometimes. And it just came together here. That was about a 20-pound ulua.
Yeah.
And just so you know that I don't always kick field goals when it comes to trying to 3-prong uluas, this is an example of what is more likely to happen. If you don't hit the button right on those things and stone them, either get a spine shot or a brain shot, especially with a 3-prong, all hell breaks loose. They're super powerful. So here I am, this is a different ulua house, and I know which way to enter it and really like sneak up to the ledge where I know they're gonna be. You notice that I stopped and kind of hung my head over to check around before I fell into the hole. Now I'm going through kind of like a lava tube here, and I know that they're usually at the end of it. And here's probably about a 50-pound ulua, so it's more than twice as big as that last one. And I can see him doing his lap, and I know he's gonna come back in my direction. So I've got the 3-prong loaded, and I'm gonna try to get a stone shot on him, but as you're about to see, it does not go well. So I hit him, and instantly he pulls a 3-prong out of my hand and takes off. I try to kick out of the cave to get view of which direction he went, but it's kind of a murky day, and it was just no dice. I ended up losing that 3-prong and somehow finding it over a year later in the same area, and that was after an El Nino winter, some of the biggest waves in the last 20 years on the North Shore, and somehow found this 3-prong in another ulua house in the area. So yeah, you kind of got to pick your battles. It really doesn't always go your way. But at the end of the day, it's a challenge. I don't like losing fish like this, but it's part of the game.
3-prong action! Big boy, this has got to be my biggest one on 3-prong ever.
Hey, if you like the content I'm putting out on this channel, make sure to set notifications, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. I hate harping on about it, but I have to be reminded to. I always watch cool videos on YouTube and I totally forget to like it or subscribe or set notifications. So I'm throwing out the plug. Help support this channel if you want. Aloha.